Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome to episode 2 of the 2019 MC Commute series starring Honda CB300R. I'm your host, Adam Waheed, senior editor at Motorcyclist magazine, and today I'm going to be taking you for a ride with me to work.
All right, everybody, here it is. Honda's 2019 CB300R, new and improved for this year. This motorcycle replaces the old CB300F. It's a lot more sporty. It's a lot lighter, it looks a lot better, and it's just all around a better motorcycle from the inside out. What I really like about this thing is just the styling. I mean, look at this thing. It looks very similar to the awesome looking 2018 CB1000R. Neo Sports Cafe motorcycle is what Honda is calling this, and it's designed to be more European looking. I mean, look at that dual chamber headlight, the big thick inverted fork, the slim fuel tank and the neat radiator shrouds, the way the engine's exposed. This motorcycle is a really neat looking motorcycle, and it looks a lot more expensive than its $4,650 MSRP would lead you to believe. So let's hop on this thing and see what it's like to ride. Right away when I hop on this bike, you can tell just how lithe it is. It's a very small motorcycle, but even though it's small, it still feels substantial. I'm 6 foot tall, so I'm a bigger guy, but I don't feel cramped on this bike. I mean, case in point, we rode this thing during our recent On Two Wheels episode 1 shoot. We were riding this bike for 2 or 3 days, pretty much non-stop. And I didn't have an ounce of discomfort, you know, and I should have. I had even had camping gear loaded on this bike, so the cockpit was a little bit more cramped, I guess you could say. Yet still, the ergonomics are just so well engineered that I didn't have a problem. That's something you don't see every day. Oops, sorry. So that's one of the weird things about this Honda CB300R is the horn is in the turn signal, traditional turn signal position. So sometimes when you're trying to use the turn signals, you might bump the horn. But it was good to let that guy know that he should be moving a little faster. We got places to go and people to see. Speaking of places to go and people to see, this 286cc single-cylinder engine, geez Louise, I've never been a big fan of this engine, but in this bike it works so well. This bike has lost so much weight compared to the CBR300R sport bike or the CB300F naked bike, that this engine actually feels faster than it ever did before. I think Honda claims that this bike's lost 35 pounds from the previous version. I mean, that's unbelievable that they can reduce that kind of weight off an already very, very small motorcycle with minimal components. And to do that, Honda really looked at the engineering of this bike and tried to do just that, remove components. The more components you have, the more weight. So if you can simplify things and make certain components function in multiple ways, you're going to pare down hardware and ultimately reduce weight. One thing I think that's really neat about this bike is just the frame. The frame design on it it's a tubular steel frame, so nothing super fancy, but what Honda did is they actually engineered the frame to be super thin. So the frame walls of the steel is very, very thin. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, a thin frame, it's not going to hold up to the weight and load and speed and things like that. Well, that's true. So to accommodate that, Honda actually engineered a steel plate mechanism. And the steel plate mechanism bolts to the frame and to the shock. And what it does is it gives the shock additional load support. So you have that pleasant rigidity balance and that pleasant rigidity when you're loading the bike with the throttle or having a passenger or over bumps. So basically, Honda was able to fit a very, very lightweight frame and give the chassis the extra bit of load resistance it needs just by fitting that pivot plate. Very, very, very smart thing. Also, neat thing about the chassis is just the 41mm Showa fork. You don't see little bikes like this with this big diameter fork, and it really helps. You can ride this bike very, very hard. Usually these little bikes have a little bit of wallowing with the suspension. The rebound's always too fast. Not this thing. This thing works really good. The shock also has a big piston in it, and a big piston and a shock basically just allows the rear suspension to follow the contours of the road and respond more accurately to bumps, flows more oil. The shock just mounts directly between it and the frame. There's no linkage, which further reduces weight. And this thing rides really good. It has very, very smooth, supple ride quality. I'm actually amazed that a little bike that's this inexpensive can have such good ride quality. There's no adjustment aside from a preload collar on the shock, so you can turn it in or out based on how much you weigh, or if you have a passenger, or the way you like the attitude of the bike. Some people like the rear of the bike a little bit more in the air. Some people like it a little bit lower, so you can make that kind of adjustment with the preload collar. Been averaging about 53, 55 miles to a gallon on this thing. I know a lot of people say you can get more, and you can, but generally I ride this thing pretty high in the RPMs and pretty much kind of quick everywhere I go, so I'm going to burn a little bit more fuel than folks who are short shifting it and not revving her out to its 10,500 some red line. Still, with the 3.7 gallon fuel tank, you got some range. Got some range on this thing. You can log some miles on this thing. It does really good in the range and fuel efficiency department. Engineers also tweaked the powertrain just a little bit. They revised the way the bike inhales air. So instead of inhaling air from the front of the machine, it actually sucks it from behind. It has a little bit of vibration. You can feel it through the foot pegs and a little bit through the handlebar. But I like that Honda actually fitted rubber bar mounts inside this handlebar to try to quell some of that vibration. It works really good. This handlebar is a 1 1/8 inch diameter handlebar, so you can actually swap it out for a different bend if you wanted to from the aftermarket. I like the bend though. It's got a nice rise to it. The sweep isn't too far back. It gives you a real commanding position. It feels very sporty and a little bit aggressive, which I like. Our first corner, and this thing whirls through the corners. These Dunlop GPR 300R tires are great. Even though this is a budget-oriented tire, it works so good. I've ridden these things on the track, ridden them on the street, and gosh, they work so good. And they're not very expensive, so when it comes time to replace them, you'll have no hesitations. Instrumentation is fairly complete. I like the fuel gauge. I like the horizontal tack. Coolant gauge is nice, but realistically I don't know why you'd ever really need that. These bikes never overheat, they never run hot, they always run perfect. The fuel mileage figures is a nice feature. The monochrome color, I like it. You know, it could be maybe a little bit brighter in direct sunlight, but it's not terrible. Probably the only one thing it's missing is a gear position indicator. Kind of surprising that Honda would omit something like that, especially on a bike that's more entry-level orientated. A lot of bikes in this price point, they sometimes have a little bit flimsy feeling clutches. The clutches they're not weighted properly in terms of when you squeeze it. This thing does have a pleasantly weighted clutch though. It doesn't feel cheap, feels real good. Yet, it doesn't require the kind of hand muscle of other bikes, so it's going to be easy for you to learn how to operate the clutch if this is your first bike. Engagement point is really easy to find too. The bike we're riding right now does not have ABS. For an extra couple $100 you can enjoy a 2-channel ABS system. It's actually powered by an IMU, so it's the same kind of chip that's in your iPhone and in other motorcycles like Honda CB300R. And what that chip does is that chip gives the motorcycle positional awareness in terms of its relationship to space. So what angle it's going in terms of roll, yaw, and pitch. And that allows, that piece of information is fed to the ECU, which in turn allows the ABS to modulate brake power based on those axes. Honda didn't elaborate into how many axes that IMU measures, but typically they measure pitch, roll, and yaw. So it's neat to see that Honda is really investing in technology and offering that kind of performance on a $5,000 street bike. It's pretty unbelievable. Brakes on this bike, they did a nice job. They're pretty strong for a little bike. Up front it's got a Nissan radial mount piston. What that means is the radial mount caliper, I'm sorry. What that means is the caliper actually attaches to the fork lug this way, so it has less urge to twist when you brake. It gives it more rigidity, so more of that power goes right into that brake rotor. And I like the front brake. I think it's pretty good. I mean, this bike will actually even do a little bit of a nose wheelie if you pull on the lever. You know, you're gonna have to use 3 fingers to do it because this master cylinder doesn't push enough fluid as it would on a big bike, but you know, it still gets the job pretty well done. There we go, that little endo. 3 fingers, little endo. Back brake's nice and powerful too. Brake lever, clutch lever doesn't have any adjustment, but it just so happens that the brake lever positioning fits my hand perfectly. I usually like a brake lever that's pretty close to the handlebar. A lot of folks like it way far out. I like it really close so it's easy to grab in a pinch, and this one's set up like that from stock. So if you're a person with smaller hands, size medium, size small hands, you're gonna like this a lot. If you have size large hands, it might be a little bit too close for you. We dynoed this motorcycle a while ago, and on the dyno it made almost 28 horsepower. 28 horsepower and 19 foot-pounds of torque. Now that's not a big torque number, but what I'm really impressed about is just where that torque is and how the power band is engineered. I mean, this bike makes almost maximum torque from as low as 5,000 RPM, which is pretty crazy for a little single-cylinder engine. So from 5,000 RPM all the way to redline, you have almost net maximum torque, and that just gives you the acceleration you need to get off the line. Even if you're in a little bit of a high gear, the engine still pulls good. The bike still accelerates really well. Mirrors work really good. They have a little bit of buzz in them, but I can still see fairly well what's going on behind me. That little white light you saw there is a programmable shift light, so you can adjust that light to flash based on the RPM the engine's revving at. Good for you drag racers out there. I've had a chance to ride this bike at night, and that LED headlight is just, it's superb. It throws such a big stream of light. It's also nice that the turn signals and the tail light are also LEDs. And a fun fact about this motorcycle is Honda says that the LED tail light on this CB300R is the smallest or the thinnest taillight it's ever fitted on a motorcycle. That's kind of a neat stat. I know a lot of you guys at home are going to gripe at, oh god, it's only a 286cc engine, you can barely go at freeway speeds, but it does the freeway okay. I mean, we're traveling at 63 miles per hour, pushing 7,000 revs. Yeah, you're not going to be wanting to ride this thing to Palm Springs, California, which is 130 miles away. But for riding around town and riding around your local, you know, vicinity area here in Orange County, California, it's just fine. No hesitations riding this thing, you know, 50, 60 miles to go to work or go visit a friend. A very light feeling motorcycle. This thing is just unbelievable how light it is, how easy it is to put where you want. Get it stable. I mean, if you're just getting into, regardless if you're getting into riding or if you're a more experienced person, you're gonna like the way this bike handles a lot. Even though this motorcycle is made in Thailand, the build quality is very high. Fit and finish is much higher than you'd expect a motorcycle to be that was not built in Japan. There's been a lot of other motorcycles coming out recently with really favorable price points from other manufacturers that are machines built in China, and this bike is just, it's head and shoulders better in terms of build quality. It's not even close. This bike also has a couple accessories. There's an optional low seat, so if you're really height challenged, you can be comfortable when you're riding. Would I pony up the $4,650 to buy this bike? I need a bike with a little bit more performance, but at the same time, for riding around town and just for, you know, running to get groceries and running quick errands on, I love this bike. I really do. All right, the moment of truth. Does she wheelie? Yeah, she wheelies. She wheelies pretty good. She slides too real good. Look at that. Good slides on this bike. Yeah, I love this thing. Fun little bike. If you guys want to know more about this 2019 CB300R from Honda, please review our articles on motorcyclistonline.com. Search 2019 CB300R. We have a couple of reviews on there, so please peruse those. If you haven't checked out On Two Wheels episode 1, make sure to see that. I was riding this bike in that.
Well, there you have it, guys. Episode 2 of our 2019 MC Commute series on Honda's CB300R. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Motorcyclist Mag on YouTube, and visit motorcyclistonline.com to read all the written reviews. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.